Well, hello, this is Peter Combs from Bidamount.com, BidamountLive.com, and P.O. Combs Asian Art in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And today is Friday, November 19th, 2021. And this, of course, is our regular weekly video. As you all know, I'm working from home for a little bit here, and I'll let you know when we're back in the office and everything's back to normal. It's good to get these back underway. We're working to get things sort of back to normal as much as I can while I'm here. A couple of things I wanted to mention was one of them is the identification assistant service and the preview assistant thing. As you know, I wasn't doing them for a week or two because of what was going on, and hopefully we'll be back to doing them in the next week or so, but I'll let you all know. Check back on the page, and we'll have an announcement there, but I'll let everybody know, and we'll maybe do an email blast to let folks know that have been wanting to send in things for us to look at. All right, but we'll get that back on track as soon as we can, okay? On eBay last week, it was a pretty busy week. There were a lot of interesting things popped up that we were able to get into the newsletter on time, and we're going to go through the results of them because they had some very good results. I have to say that the prices have been quite good. One of the things that was one of the featured items was this. This was this very nice Realgar glass snuff bottle, and it did very well. It brought $1,425. And part of the reason was the coloring of it was so good. Often Realgar can be sort of just a bland red blob of a thing, not much going on with it. And this one had some really nice swirling in the glass, especially up around the mouth and the shoulder up here. Nice color variations, some oranges and some yellows and some greens. And the glass was very nicely done. Really, really nicely done, and had a very attractive stopper on it, and did quite well. It brought $1,425. Less colorful examples, you know, typically bring in the $500 to $700 range, but this one was particularly nice as far as the color goes. Possibly 18th, probably 19th century. The seller thought it was 18th century, but most Realgar bottles are 19th century. But snuff bottle collectors know that, and you buy them because of the quality of the glass. And this had very nice quality to it. It was really pretty. And the other thing that did well, silks continue to do well. This was a nice big hanging panel with a centralized dragon flanked by two additional dragon, and then the classical sort of a rain cloud border at the bottom with waves and all this other activity going on an apricot silk ground. The apricot silk was very nicely done, and I didn't notice a lot of fading in it. There was apparently a split on the back, which is pretty minor, but overall it was a nice condition. There's the back of the liner for it, and it brought $2,336. But this was a pretty big piece too. It was over 5 feet long and nearly 3 feet wide, so or 3 feet high. So it was a good big panel. And the demand for silk continues. We're seeing it on, the same goes for rank badges, other big pieces. Silk prices tend to be still very much on a strong trend. All right, and then on to this. This was oddly listed as a Tibetan tanka or the tanka or the bottom of a tanka. It did really well, but that's not what it is, I don't think. But it was a very nice 18th century painting. Beautifully done, beautifully colored, nice scene. I love the way they did the geese down here. Very typical of early paintings, and it was either 17th or 18th century. The seller, I think, had it listed as 19th century, but it's older than, maybe they had it as 18th. I don't remember exactly. Hold on. And but it was a very nice painting. And 19th century. Now, this was an 18th or 17th or 18th century panel and a painting, and it brought $3,383. It deserved it. This was a nice work of art. All right, but I don't think it was a tanka. I think it was just a big painting. It may have had a bit more at the top, but I don't think it was. It came off of a tanka. All right, but beautiful picture. And then on to this nice Hideo carved figure of an immortal holding a ruby scepter. This was very nice. Beautiful patina on it, nicely finished, nice polish to it, good detail. Love the way they did the beard. Really, really attractive. And these Hideo nuts are very collectible. And this one brought $673. This was from it was a guest starred, Jade Gart's Limited in the UK. We feature their things fairly often because they always seem to have interesting things. And this was just one of them. They had a number of these nut beads carved, but this was I thought a very charming one, very warm color. And then over here, this was also the same seller again, had this nice little bronze scroll weight, probably 17th century, of a figure, but nicely articulated, beautifully articulated, nice deep dark patina, lots of detail, nicely done face. There it is, he's sort of smiling. He's got cash symbols running down his shoulder on a string and so forth, which of course is good luck. And here's the picture of the bottom, nice and flat. All right, and it did just fine. It ended up selling for $1,196. But very pretty, nice classic little bronze. And then this was also from this seller again. This guy had a lot of nice stuff last week. Was this very nice Tibetan gilt bronze Buddha, 18th century. It could have been 17th century too. There wasn't a big difference between 17th and 18th century Tibetan bronzes, but you got to pick a date. So I guess he picked 18th century. But this was a nice one that looks like good, legitimate wear to it. The overall casting was quite good. The lotus base was nicely done. Here it is with these sort of stylized lotus lappets and this beadwork across the edges and so forth. The hands are nicely done. Still clutching his urn and so forth. And a lot of people like this. This looked awfully good to us. Ended up selling for $3,443. But an attractive bronze, a very attractive bronze. And it came with a terrific stand. So it was sort of a twofer. All right, and then over to this. This was one of the relative bargains of the week. It was for $102. Was this 13¼ inch Canton platter, export platter, late Qianlong period, obviously for the export market. Nice deep dark coloring. The only qualm I find with the way the photo was done, it looked like the photographer, whoever did the photos, they over sharpened the pictures a little bit, and it might have actually hurt the selling price, because it looks a bit too crisp, and maybe it didn't appear to be authentic because it's such a crisp image, but it is, and it was a very, very nicely done platter. I think it was an excellent buy. I think it was an absolutely excellent buy. Good on whoever got it. Here's a picture of the back of it, and it came from Linda Wilhauer Antiques, who's a well-known dealer for many, many years, high-end dealer. We knew about her here in New England. And here's some nice details of it. Again, they sharpened, they did something, because the blue here looks like it was sort of, some of the color was taken out of it when they processed their images for some reason. But at any rate, it was a nice platter and went for a very reasonable price. I think Linda probably sold this for $1,500 or $2,000 when she had it years ago. And then over here to this teapot. Now, this teapot sold for $100. I'm only including this because it's been relisted, but it sold for $167. It closed a week or so ago, and now it's back on again. So whoever bought it obviously let the seller know they weren't going to pay for it. I don't know why. I think it went for around this $160, a pretty reasonable price for this. This is a nice 19th century familial rose teapot. So I'm not sure why the buyer didn't pay for it. But it's relisted, and it'll be in the newsletter this week, so watch for it, and now you know what it's probably going to be worth. Okay, it's a nice pot, and it's worth it's worth a couple $100 easily. Okay, and then over here, nice looking pair of Qing Mandarin rank badges, late 19th century in gilt thread only, with a little bit of red forming the moon, but a nice civilian looking badge, and there's a pair of them. Okay, you get two of them. The metalwork, the needlework on it looked quite good. If you blow it up, you'll see it was very, very fine, nicely done. Not a lot of pulls. Often these metallic thread examples have a lot of pulls on them. They get hooked on things and they get broken, and they begin to look a little tatty after a while. But this one is very nice, and it had coral beads. All right, if you bothered to look, always check these to see if they've used coral beads on them. All right, because on some of the nicer ones, the refined ones, they did do that. Other times they just use red thread. But this one they used the coral beads, and sold for $809, which I think was a perfectly good buy, a very good buy. Okay, and now moseying on over here to the Chinese clock. Chinese bracket clock. The Chinese were became fascinated with Western clocks, especially during the Qianlong period. And they began making their own. The French would send them clocks as gifts and so forth, and they really found them interesting. There's a very fine clock collection in the Palace Museum of these very ornate clocks. Some of them are incredibly ornate, but this is a very elegant example with a beautiful wood case for it. Here the vent holes and so forth. There's the dial, done with all with Roman numerals and all that. Here's the interior of the clock with the maker's stamp on it. Very attractive. They reverse engineered Western clocks, of course, and figured out how to make them. This one sold, I think, reasonably for $2,275. That looks like a pretty good deal to me. I think that was very reasonable. All right, and let's see what else is here. Oh, the food line. I threw this in. I came across this. I love this kind of stuff. And this was one of the nicest pieces of pewter I've seen in a long time. Beautifully done, fully articulated, sort of a seated food line. And this originally would have been a pair of them. It would have been terrific if I had a pair. But very nice detail all the way around. Excuse the little spinning wheel there. I'm not sure why it's doing that. But anyway, the details of the casting, the pewter work, is exceptional. If you look at this, look at all of this work in here. Beautifully done. Very, 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 very refined work. Much more so than you typically see. And here's a nice picture of his face with his snarling, flaring nostrils and these little turquoise eyes added, and the teeth and everything. But it's a beautifully cast example, beautifully made all the way around. Let's take a look here. There's the head again, the back of it, nicely done with the spring tail, so it would bounce a little bit if you flicked it. All right, and a lot of people like this a lot. He had 49 bids, ended up selling for $1,115. And you don't see Chinese pewter often selling for more than $400 or $500. This example did much better because it was very interesting. It was about 8 or 9 inches in size, and just a nifty example. Really, really nice. The other problem with these types of figures also is that pewter is so easy to dent that often they get dented, the legs get busted, the bangs in the body, and the piece just gets tossed aside. This one held up and was in excellent condition, and it's a 19th century example. And we've already seen that. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about that sold was this, a very nice Chinese jade and silver bracelet. This was a nice example, very elegant, reticulated jade panels running around it, probably made around 1900 to 1920. But beautiful work on it, beautiful colored jadeite, and ended up selling for $698. But a nice gift. That was 77 Pud had that. He gets good things. He's good with Chinese jewelry. He seems to get quite a bit of it, and he illustrates the better pieces. I like the things he sells. Okay. And then over to what's coming up this week. We're still putting together the list of things that are going to be on the newsletter page this week. If you don't get it, come over, come to the newsletter page here at the top, and come down, and you can subscribe, and we'll send you the notice once the page is updated each week. And we do this video, of course, and the video is on the newsletter page, and we always put in a second video for something else that we see that looks interesting. Lately, we've been showing some paintings that were done in a lecture series by the scholar Mr. Cahill on Chinese art. He was one of the most important American lecturers and academics on Chinese paintings that there ever has been. Written lots of books, James Cahill. He has since passed, but he was a wonderful writer. If you have his books, you know what I mean. At any rate, let's see what's coming up. A very, very nice, how big is this pot? It's not terribly big. What is it? 5 3/4 inch tall, Marken period, Jiajing, blue and white teapot. This to me looks like a Marken period pot. Looks absolutely fine. Here's a picture of the bottom. The foot rim looks absolutely fine. Ooh, the dogs are excited today. And this is a real nice little pot. And right now, I don't know why. I think people are thinking it's a copy. It's only up to $6.15. It's been up for 8 days. I mean, it's got 8 days to go before it closes. This is a good pot. Should bring in the thousands. So check it out. All right. We'll feature this on the newsletter page this week. But it's a nice looking piece of blue and white, and it looks like it's in good condition. All right. The other thing will be on is this Wan Li garlic neck vase. Good looking example. Nicely painted all the way around. Nice foot rim on it. Looks good and clean. Should bring, $1,100 to $1,600. Right now it's up to $62 with 2 days to go. All right, this is a seller over in France is selling this, but you want to check that out. It looks like it looks perfectly good to me. All right, and then over here, this is a G-Star Limited again. Is this another nice little Ming standing figure of a bronze, nice patina on it, good dark patina, nice details, very attractive. It looks like it's probably, 4 inches tall or something? 14 centimeters, it's bigger than it looks. It's about 5 inches tall. It's a little bit bigger, but it's a good-looking piece. And it's just up to $36. It closes on Monday. It'll also be on the newsletter page this week. And this soapstone, we don't often show soapstone because most of the soapstone that turns up, frankly, on eBay isn't worth looking at because a really good soapstone just doesn't turn up that often. But this is a very nice figure of a Guan Yin on a sort of a rocky carved plinth with a couple of attendants or acolytes beside her. But very nice carving, very nice carving. This is 18th, maybe early 19th century. It's difficult to tell, but very fine, very, very fine with its stand, which makes it unusual. Most of the time you see these, and it's just you've seen them at the auction houses, Bonhams, Christie Sotheby's will have them. It'll just be the figure without its stand. This is the complete set, which I think makes it very interesting and very, very nice. It's a good thing to buy. And here's a picture of the back of it. And you notice that the stand and the thing that it's all mounted on is rather rusticated, and then the figures themselves are very refined and polished. I don't understand the angle shots, why they do that, but at any rate, yeah, left and right to make you tip your head, I guess, when you look at things. But this is a nice soapstone carved set, very attractive, and it's let's see, what are the dimensions on this? 15 centimeters, so it's about 6 inches tall. Nice little set, but so it's that big. It's not it's not huge, but good quality. Should bring $1,500 to $2,000. If it doesn't, you got a heck of a good buy on your hands. All right, I've seen just the Kuan Yin figure carved alone will bring $1,000 to $1,200, and then you have all these other added bits to it. Love the attendants; they're adorable, really cute. All right, and moseying along over to here, another nice carved, it appears to me to be probably Japanese, a carved wooden seal, but nicely done, nice deep dark hardwood. I'm not sure what kind of wood that is. I can't really tell because it's been stained, but good carving, 19th century work, that'll be in there. And this, probably on early Ming bronze. This is from Downsized down in Florida again. She's had some nice things lately. This is a good-looking bronze. Yuan Ming Dynasty, very classic type. They often turn up in old English collections. In New England, we used to see them all the time in Victorian houses for quite a while. Houses. There was a dealer I knew in Salem, Massachusetts, who used to get into all the good houses in Salem on Federal Street and Chestnut Street and over in the Derby Wharf area and over in there. And he would just buy, he would love to buy their bronzes and Asian things. And he always had an amazing selection of Ming bronzes back when nobody was buying them back in the 80s. People weren't that interested in this type of bronze, Yuan, Ming, early Qing bronzes. And he always had them, and he would sell them very reasonably just because he didn't pay much for them. People that sold them to him didn't have any idea what they were. They're just old Chinese metals. And he would sell them to me for $50, $100 a piece, sometimes maybe $200 for a really good one, with some gilt splash on it and so forth. And but this is the kind of thing he often had. His name was Lewis, and what was the auction house? The store's name was Blair House. He was a great guy, and here it is. This is the different views of it. Nice looking example. Very, very similar example sold at Sotheby's a while ago, and there's some pricing information on that. This one's a little bit fancier, and it ended up selling for about $40,000, but it's the same general era. All right, so a little bit of a guide there. And then on to this beautifully done rank badge. Very colorful. Very, very, very colorful rank badge. This is a civilian badge, nicely done, gold thread ground. I think this is just a very pretty rank badge. And right now it's up to $908. It's got 6 days to go. I suspect it'll bring $2,000 to $3,000 because I don't think it's 19th century. I think it's 18th century, and I think the work on it is very good. But the colors jump out at you, which is really quite something. And then over here, the rock crystal set. He says 19th century, possibly Republic period. That's when a lot of this rock crystal was done. But this is a lovely bit of rock crystal carving. If you're a carved rock collector, and you like rock crystal, this is something worth checking out. It's well done all the way over. Nice elephant handles on it, but a very complicated carving. And right now it's up to just $510. And recently these types of carvings have been bringing in the $1,200 to $1,800 range. But we'll see. This is a nice one though. This is being sold by a seller over in France. Okay, and then on to this. Oh, yeah, you remember a few weeks ago, these stands sold. If some of you are going to say to you, those look familiar. This is the same fellow that had the Chinese Nodder doll. Well, whoever bought both of them didn't pay for them, apparently, and they're being relisted. And this is such a pain in the neck. These were very, very nice stands. They brought $2,000 or $3,000 last time around, as I recall, they're back up again, so they will again be in the newsletter, and don't let the fact that they're being relisted scare you thinking there's something wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with these. These are really nice stands, and somebody the game over in China for many of these guys is that they buy these things, then they get control of it, and then they try to resell it before they pay for it. So they'll get a hold of somebody and say, what will you give me for a pair of these? And if they can't get a profit out of it, they just don't pay their bill. That's sort of one of the games that gets played by the buyers over in China, or in other places too. But it's mostly in 80-90% of the time it's a dealer in China or a dealer selling to somebody and trying to sell to somebody in China. They'll win these lots and then stall paying until they can find a customer for them because they don't want to lay out their own money. And if they don't get a customer, they just don't pay for it and they walk away. And I suspect that's what's happened with this and this. And of course, they can also, buy it, kill it, not pay for it, and then wait for the piece to come up again, hoping it'll sell for less money. All right, all I can say is don't let them do that. And the Nodder dolls, they also sold previously and went for $2,000 or $3,000, and now they're back up again, and they're still worth $2,000 or $3,000. I thought $2,000 or $3,000 was actually very reasonable for these. So if you're attracted to them and wish you'd bought them the last time, be brave and buy them this time. All right, buy them this time and pay for them and put them in your house. Okay, that's all I have to say about it. And it's just I just get furious when people don't pay their bills, because in the real auction world you can't get away with that. If you go to an auction, you don't pay your bill. It spreads like wildfire among other auctioneers that you're a deadbeat, and that's the end of it. I know. I ran an auction house, and we kept a list of people that couldn't register at our auctions ever. That's it. They're done. And it doesn't matter even if they've cleared up their old bills. They still can't register. All right. And but for some reason, the auction houses online give a pass to these guys and they let them keep bidding. It makes it's unheard of in the real auction world that somebody that just never pays his bills keep buying things at auctions. Doesn't make any sense at all to me. All right. And the last thing I wanted to mention was on the Bidamount live site this week. This turned up. And this is Fort Folly in Canton platter. It's an export type. It's a sort of a famous plate. And this is a wonderful example. It has this beautiful shape to it. And there's the fort. And this fort was originally built, I think, was sort of the mid-latter part of the Ming dynasty to protect the harbor. And then as technology and things improved, they didn't need the fort as much anymore. It was sort of left abandoned. And when foreign traders began going in and out of China increasingly, as you know, the foreign visitors were not allowed to go in and travel around China. They were sort of sequestered to the ports. And Fort Folly became sort of a headquarters, a warehouse, a business area at the port for the foreign traders to take advantage of and to use while they were in China, where they stored things before loading them on the boats and doing all kinds of things. But at any rate, that's what this is a depiction of. And I imagine somebody had it ordered it for dinner service to show somebody back at home, you know, what it looks like, where they've been in China. This is about all of China they got to see was Fort Folly. So there it is. All right. Despite China's massive size and everything that was going on, most of the traders never got out of the port. They were stuck there. Okay. And place their orders and then wait for the orders to come. Anyway, it's for $1,300, which I think is very reasonable if you want an interesting piece of Chinese export with a sort of a fascinating history. And some other things have come up on the Bidamount Live site as well, so you want to check it out. Each week there's more and more things coming. There's quite a few Japanese things have turned up there this week, and people are selling things, and it's coming along just fine. There's over 300 listings on there right now. It keeps going up a little bit every single week, and we're very happy about it. All right, and if you're not a seller on there yet, go over and use it. The commission rate is, peanuts, 8%. We don't charge for shipping. We don't charge fees for shipping. We don't charge anything. That's up to you. If you want to put your own website in your information on your dealer's page, go ahead and do it. We have basically no rules other than you treat everybody nicely, and you ship things, and things are described, and they are correctly described. And that's all we ask, okay? And that's about it. And that's about it for today, okay? We did do a video yesterday on the Rob Michael sale. I know a lot of you have seen it, but if you haven't seen it, check it out. Nice looking auction. That's happening on December 3rd and 4th. It's in 3 parts, including some very nice premium lots on the second day, at the end of the second day, and some nice Japanese things as well, and some good bronzes, lots of monochromes, and some very nice 18th century blue and white and 17th century blue and white examples, if that's what you're interested in. Okay. Have a great weekend. We'll be back next week. I'm going to work on a couple of videos here. Well, as somebody said, in my new perch. And thank you all for your very, very kind emails over the last week or so, last couple of weeks. It's been really nice to get. I appreciate it. And thanks again for watching. Subscribe here on YouTube if you haven't already. And have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful weekend. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye.